Ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, and everyone in between. Welcome back to the workshop. Today on the bench we have one multi-tool. For those who don't know, multi-tool is used for a multiple of reasons. So you can use it for cutting, use it for like trimming architrave and things like that, or you can have like heads for sanding and things like that as well. It can actually use it for quite a lot. Good tool, fairly recent tool. Addition to the toolbox. I've had this for a couple of years, but I mean they've just come out of nowhere over the last couple of years. Good for flooring and stuff like that, and for general DIY and sort of maintenance. When you could spend an hour doing it the old school way, you could spend 5 minutes with this. But so yeah, good tool. And this one is a real one as well. So we've gone up market. No more Chinesium tools. This is a proper Dewalt 18-volt brushless, and it is a DCS355. So I thought what we'd do, we'd get this on the bench today, take it apart. I'm a little bit worried about the springy things on it, but we'll take it apart, we'll have a look inside. It'll be interesting to see after some sort of, I've used it for, I don't know, like I say, a couple of years. It'd be interesting to see what it actually looks like inside. So, without any further ado, let's take it apart. Let's have a look inside. It should. Well, I've used it for quite a bit of sanding as well, so it'd be interesting to see if it's full of dust inside, and other nasties and things like that. You can see by the screws. Hopefully, you can see that. A lot of the screws are caked and filled up, so I might have to dig some of those out. Right, I've got a little blade there because no doubt the sticker's going to get in the way as per usual. So whilst I'm doing this, I thought I'd tell you a little story, because so the other half, a couple of days ago, she run me up in a panic. She took a car out, took it down the driveway, out onto the road, and it just stalled on her and wouldn't restart, which isn't great because she hasn't had the car for that long. And she finally, she couldn't get it started. So I was at work. I was like, don't worry, I'll pop back. We need to pick the kid up from school. It was all running. We all had 10 minutes to do all of these things. So I grabbed the kid on the way home. I said to her, leave the car, leave it on the drive, leave it on the road. Just get yourself back in the house, because at least it was just down the road. So picked the kid up in someone else's car, because I had to grab someone else's car from work. I get home and the car's now on the driveway, which I thought was a bit strange. Knocked on the door, spoke to her. Turns out she managed to get it started. It was bellowing white smoke out the back of it. She got it up onto the drive, and then proceeded to reverse the car into the gates. So now it's got a big dent in the back. My first question was, well, have you damaged the gates? But apparently that's the wrong reply. But luckily, the gates weren't too bad. But yeah, she's got a big dent in the back, and now the car is bellowing white smoke out the back of it as well. So, as you can imagine, thinking the worst and thinking, what, head gasket's gone? Is it white or is it bluish? Is the turbo blown? Is it burning oil as well? It wasn't black, so potentially not really fuely. Anyway, so a little bit of panic. I spoke to a couple of my mechanic mates. They all said the same sort of thing. Water, with like white sort of fluffy smokes, generally water. But the coolant level was fine. The oil was fine, nice and dark as well. So it was a bit of a mystery, to be honest. So spent a bit of time, done a bit of research and all that rubbish. And I thought, I know what I'll do. Next day, I'll go out, I'll drop the kid to school in the morning, and then I'll go and have a look at this car. She's all thankful that, I'm going to go out and spend a bit of time to look at it. So what I did is I drove it to the back of my garden. So all my garden is open, front and rear. So I drove it to the back, just in front of the workshop, and took it apart. The first thing I did was do the EGR valve. That was a little bit seized up, but not really an issue. But cleaned it out. Thought, well, at least I can have a look at the turbo, sort of the inlet manifold and stuff like that whilst I'm there. That seemed okay as well. A little bit oily, but whatever. So clean the EGR, cleaned the turbo, sort of the intercooler and things like that. So it wasn't very oily anyway. But I thought I'd give it a clean up, just because I was sort of scratching my head at the same time. Again, coolant levels were fine. So put all that back together, started the car up, and it was still very smoky. But I noticed as I was revving it, because of the way the garden is, it's quite sloped. So at the back, at my workshop's at the highest point of the garden. So now the car's like that. So the back end's here, the front's there. And as I was revving the car up, I noticed there was loads of water coming out of the exhaust. As in, like, loads of water coming out of the exhaust. And then it sort of hit me there. It struck me that she hasn't used the car for about a week and a half. And she's parked on the driveway the other way, so she's nose down. And as anyone knows who's been anywhere near the UK for the past week or so, the weather's been absolutely terrible. It's been foggy, it's been icy, it's been rainy. So the rain's gone sideways at times. And I think what had happened is that her exhaust basically is just filled up with water. And it's sitting there, just sitting in the back box and sitting in the mid-pipe and things like that. And this white smoke is actually steam where it's trying to get rid of it. So I did what any good partner, husband, would do, as I didn't tell her. I just thought, I know what I'll do. I'll take it round the block, see if I can get it cleared, give it a bit of a ragging, get it up to temperature. I went up a nice hill, so again, gravity working in my favour. I feel like that's going to pop off. Yeah, gravity working in my favour. So yeah, done it a few times, got it right up to temperature, and slowly but surely the water in the exhaust was clearing. So parked it on the drive, came in, big smile on my face. I was like, yep, don't worry, I've fixed it. And she was like, oh, what's wrong with it? I was like, well, there's a bit of water in the exhaust, but I've cleaned the EGR valve out, and I've cleaned the turbo out, so it's probably all of that. Of course, now I'm the superhero, and really, I didn't do anything. I just sort of, obviously that was a bit null and void, cleaning all the EGR out. Really, I could have just taken it for a drive. But yeah, so I thought, well, why waste this opportunity to get in our good books? So like I said, now for about a day now, this was yesterday, I'm still somehow in our good books. So I reckon I've probably got another 6 to 8 hours, and then I'll be back in the doghouse for some reason. But I thought, well, why waste the opportunity? So she's been making me cups of tea. She's been like, oh, I really appreciate everything you've done, and I'm loving that. But I say it doesn't happen very often, and it probably won't happen. I say I've probably got 6 to 8 hours now before it goes back to default, and I've probably done something wrong. So I thought I'd tell you that story because it made me. It's quite a good one. It made me giggle. She's happy, I'm happy, and who am I to tell her that? Oh no, I've lost the bolt. Hang on. Yeah, and who am I to tell her that maybe it was just water all along? Okay, God knows where that bolt has gone. Oh no, hang on. Oh, I found it. Right, that's good. I'm gonna have to take this off. So yeah, I thought that was good. I'm sure I'd done what any other. Oh, look, the first spring. Oh, there's little balls in there as well. Look, that's quite cool. So just in there, there's some little. Hopefully you can see that, little ball bearings. And then a spring as well. So that was preloaded, just against the plastic here. So yeah, so it feels nice to be in the good books, because like I said, it doesn't happen very often. And also, I'm the master mechanic now. Bear in mind, I was a motorcycle mechanic back in the day anyway. But now, she's told all her friends, my father-in-law's like, oh, well done for fixing the car. I'm just standing there just like, yeah, no problem. It's a bit like that guy from the American Office, that meme, where he's been given an award, and he's really not really sure why and what he's done. So yeah, that's pretty much how I feel. But I'll take that award, and I'll hang that award up on the up above the bed. Right, hopefully, are we last screw? You can see all the dust coming out of it now, can't you? Right, let's get that knife. I'm hoping we're actually in focus, because I'm useless with stuff like this. It'd be interesting as well to take apart an actual Dewalt tool rather than let's say the rest of them have been Chinesium, so it'd be interesting to see what we have inside and how much better it is than the Chinese tools. You can see I'm not overly organised. This is all done. Well, there's no prep here other than I found the right size torque head screwdriver and got a little knife and an Allen key, so that is my prep for this video. So I think sometimes it's best to be a bit just organic with it and see how it goes. So wow, look at that, it's snowing in there. So we'll start with the casing. I'm hoping I've got audio. 1 second. Right, we're back. That was very good timing because the microphone just failed. It was just flashing away at me there, and I had to go and have some lunch and put it on charge. So where were we? Picking straight back up on the cases. Really stiff casing on this. A little bit of flex in the middle, but very strong. We've got some reinforced ribbon sort of along here, and again along the main handle, sort of the grip section. PA6 plus, so that is reinforced with glass fibre, and you've got the it's like the injection holes, not the injection holes, but like the grabbing holes, the mating holes for the overgrip. And again, these are keyed in quite nicely along the edges there. Overall, built quite well. Not necessarily much better. I'm actually saying that. We've got a little bit of some dampening there on the side, so that's something that the Chinesium tools didn't have. So that's quite nice to see, and that's where the motor actually sits, so that stops those vibrations. Even though it's a multi-tool and it loves a little bit of vibrating. Switch wise, not a lot to see here. Quite nice, so it's nice that it's not all plastic. We've got a little metal pin there holding the two pieces together, and on the underside there we have some more springs. It looks like a little flat spring, and that just helps that rock quite nicely and helps it return. So let's get into the meat of her then. She's got some weight behind this. So absolutely covered in dust, as to be expected. Could do with a paintbrush really, but I have to do without for now. Nice casing at the top. Let's pull it apart. Let's have a look. So, in fact, let's start at the bottom, I think. So it looks like there. It looks like if this will focus. Focus. So the connectors there are actually, looks like they've got a little ferrule that's been welded on, like spot welded on, as opposed to soldered like the Chinese tools. Looks like a nicely potted sort of a speed controller. Here's the bar for locking. That locks the actual trigger. Focus. That's the problem. When I hold this up, the focus just disappears, just runs away. So here's our nice switch. Nice return on that. Really strong return on that actually. You can hear that. Everything's covered in shite. That is my house falling out of there. Cables are nicely tucked away. Nice, they've got clips at the bottom. It's elastic around the connectors there as well. And it looks like this main speed controller body is all potted as per, very similar to the Chinesian one, but we have morse elastic on every single one of the joints. Yep, even there. So that's going to stop them from breaking ideally. One thing I will say, if we're in focus, is these are quite tight. These are all turned on themselves and pulled quite tight, these set of cables here, these wires. So it'd be interesting to see if that's a bit of a failure point there. They will go brittle and probably fail along here. But again, there's probably nothing really to worry about. Like I say, I've worked this tool quite hard and it's still doing what it does. Got a light at the top, and then that runs along the spine of the tool, and I'm guessing just joins here. Let's see if we can pull this apart a little bit more. Yep, okay, so we've got that out. Let's see if we can pull this. No, okay, again full of dust. There looks like a little screw there. We might take that apart. Let's see if we can get this out. I don't really want to break this tool, so if I can help it, because I still do use it. Yeah, the LED's very tight in there. In fact, it looks like it's glued in. That point there, look, that's actually glued, so I'll be double careful with that. Back of the casing, some sort of model number, or serial number there, and it is a 2020 model. So all you counterfeiters, get yourself pen and paper, jot that down. Again, on the back of the speed controller and the electricery, the casing has some nice rubber tape there, and that's just, it helps to absorb some shocks. Right, what I'm going to try and do, hopefully it's the same size, let's try and separate this out. I'll use my trusty screwdriver. No, of course it's not. I wonder if a flathead will go. Will we get in there? There we go, you can see now. Right, that's just about working. It's not the most elegant way of doing it, but if it works, it's not a silly idea. Will it ever go back together again? Who knows? Let's see. Right, I'm going to pause that. It will work, but I don't want to strip the head of that screw out. Let's pause it there. Right, back again. Seems to be a bit of a theme with me at the minute. Just making do with the wrong tools. So I'm just trying to remove the stump in the front garden. Originally we had maybe 4 or 5 big pine sort of trees, or maybe like sprucey sort of trees. They were huge. They were like twice the height of the house. I topped those, and then I felled the trees, and then the stumps I tried to just forget about. I sort of buried them in the garden, but I'm trying to rework the front garden at the minute, which means lowering the level, which means, surprise, surprise, these stumps have just appeared and from out the ground, and they are huge. I've slowly been getting rid of them, but this last one is the biggest, and it's taking me, I'm on like day 2. I'm having to dig around it, chop a bit off, get the chainsaws in there underneath. So I've gone through 2 chainsaws now. One electric one, doesn't really count. Yeah, I've broken the axe. I've broken the mattock as well. Right, well, this is off now. And yes, I'm still pretty much halfway. Oh, there we go. She'd be tight. Oh no! Right. I don't think too much exploded. So what have we got here? So it looks like some sort of off-center spinnimer thing. Covered in grease. We've got an O-ring there as well. Focus. We've got an O-ring here. It's weird how it's slightly off center, so I'm guessing that's what causes the vibration. What's in here? Ah, that's interesting. So if I get a little bit more light in here, how's that? Do we have light and do we have focus? Yes, we do. Yeah, so that's interesting. So as you push this, it looks like it wobbles this part here. Don't know if you can see that on camera. If I get a little line, let's get a marker pen involved. So let's draw a line on there. Hopefully that picks up on the camera. So then as you push, or something pushes this in, it moves the head. Quite a simple design, packed full of grease. Not sure what sort of grease that is. Doesn't look particularly special. Looks like it's starting to congeal a little bit at the top, whether it's mixed with dust or whatnot. Be interesting to see. I can't really, without, I think I could undo that, pull this shaft out, but I don't really want to ruin the tool. Well, that gives you a better idea, look. So it's just a direct drive by the looks of it, just on a bearing. So it might be a spline piece in here, is what I'm going with. And then it's on running a shaft that's running a bearing on the front and the rear, and that just gives your movement and just moves it to the edge. So your old cutting tool, this, can then vibrate backwards and forwards. It's quite interesting. So the motor then, let me move this light back out the way. Hopefully you can see I'm covered in grease now. How's that? So yeah, this is off center. So I'm guessing as this this motor then rotates, it's off center. So as it rotates sort of off center, which then moves these set of arms backwards and forwards. So I can imagine if I plug this in, which I might even do, would be interesting to see if that wobbles and goes mental. Right, let's try and do this without shorting the battery out. Right, we have power. Steady. Okay, so here we are. Let's see if we a little bit of. Oh, it's throwing grease everywhere. Okay. I think it got me right in the face, that did. There we go, look at that. So not quite centered, and then that's what causes that transfer of movement straight to these little forks, these little arms, which then does the magic at the end, at the bell end. That's what we're going to call it from now on. So to have a nice vibrating shaft and bell end. Right, let's unplug that. I think I might have lost screws, springs, God knows what. So I really need the fairies' help now to put these back together. So right, quite a nicely made tool. It could do with a clean, so I think before I put this back together I'm going to give it a brush over. I might replace the grease in there because I say it looks like it's had plenty of, even with the O-ring pushed against it, it looks like there's some powder, some dust, some of my walls at home that have got into that. I imagine that can't be too good for it, and probably some metal shavings as well, but it doesn't look too worn. Motor wise, we do have some solder. Yeah, we have some solder on the motor. Lots of sort of rubber, sort of vibration damping, which is quite nice to see. And that's something, I know it wasn't a multi-tool, but that's something that the Chinese ones just didn't have. There was no sort of thought about vibration, and you can feel that when you use the tools. Serial number on the side there. Don't think that's any use to anyone. Tempted to go deeper, but it's all glued. So all the connections there are glued. There's an actual a little connector there that goes on the back of the board for the guessing for the free phase for the motor itself. No wobble on the well, no, quite. I'm happy with that. There's no wobble there. The bearing's running nice and freely, and then that's running on a little circlip just to hold it all together. So I could take the circlip off and pull it apart that way. Like I said, I want to keep this tool, so I'm probably just going to give it a clean up, make it as good as new, and then stick her back together again. So yeah, interesting. It's interesting to see the difference between this sort of tool, an actual Dewalt, and something like the Chinese make-believe tools. So big difference in quality. So these, well, you've seen, they're pretty cheap, pretty basic, but work okay. But I say the vibrations are there. It doesn't feel great. A little bit of flex there, even though the casings were quite good, and the motors are pretty underpowered. But I think a bit of a thumbs up there for the real tool, because just the way it's all built, even the screws and everything, they just feel a little bit better quality, even though they're, well, they Torx bits with a slot cut out of them. So if you haven't got a Torx security bit, you can just use a flathead. But yeah, overall pretty impressed by that. I say I have worked that hard, could really do with a clean. Actually, decent tool. It's interesting for me. I've learnt today that that's how that's worked. I guessed it would be like a little PlayStation vibration. Well, that was my guess. Yeah, a bit like a PlayStation controller. You know, the vibration motor on it, where it's sort of weighted to one side. I was almost thinking it was going to be a bit more like that, and it would somehow then, with some gear sets, it would move and rotate this, or oscillate that. But yeah, so you learn something new every day. I think I'm going to pack that full of grease again, give it a good clean up. But yeah, interesting, because I didn't know how that worked. So say you learn something new every day. I think I'm going to learn something new as well. I haven't put this back together again, because there was more springs on this than any other tool. Right, well, that's all from me. I'm not sure what I'm going to be doing next. I've still got the laser level, but I'm a little bit hesitant to take that apart, because I do actually need to use it. I need to lay out for, there's potentially an extension going up soon, which I'll be building. So I might have to use that first before I commit it, because I have a feeling that will break because of the way the prisms are and the lasers and stuff like that. But I'll see, I might have a look at it first, see if that's something that we can take apart. Other than that, I say like and subscribe to the channel if you can. I've got 31, 32 subscribers now, which is awesome. So that's much more than, I think I had 9 on the last video, so that's excellent. And if you can, just comment with some abuse, really. Well, if you've made it this far, yeah, just give us a comment. Let me know what to do next, what you fancy, what I should be doing, where I should be going with the channel. Shall I carry on taking tools apart? Shall I just crack on with that? I've got a Land Rover, an old 1972 Series 3 Defender that I need to crack on with it this summer as a project. I've got axes in half at the minute where I need to put a new handle on the head. Do you want to see that? What do you want to see? Let me know, and we'll crack on. We'll carry on going in this direction. Do we open one of these up? Do we have a look inside and see what the difference is between the cheap Chinese ones? I don't know. I'm quite sort of flowing at the minute. I'm just sort of seeing. So I'm going to leave it there. Like I say, let me know what you want to see. Do we go crazy? Do we start making stuff? I don't know. I'm not sure. You tell me. But at the minute, I'm quite happy. I'm learning some bits, learning to speak on the camera, trying to learn as well how to do some sort of video editing, because I am god awful at it, but everyone's got to start somewhere. So yeah, right, that's all from me. Hope everyone is well, and I shall see you on the next video.